WJ 2027. This is some great Lucchese history. Keep it coming. What are your thoughts on Al Diaco? Like I said, Al Diaco, I knew him all my life, growing up in the neighborhood. His son, we went to the same school together, John. What I think of him, I think Al was a good guy. He was a hoodlum all his life. He was very family orientated, all about his family. I just think that when he became acting boss, he changed. And a lot of people say the same thing. So Al was known as a nice guy. Everybody loved Al. Al was known throughout the neighborhood. Everybody knew Al.
Family man. Everybody knew he was a good guy.
Family guy, all for his family. Street guy, always provided. Just another solid guy from the neighborhood. And everybody liked Al. And then I heard that when he became acting boss, a lot of people, the same people that knew him for so long, said that he wasn't the same guy. He changed. But, understandable because he was under a lot of pressure from Gas.
I would imagine that make anybody change, right?
Yeah.
You got to perform.
Yeah. Under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I would think.
Do you think he was really going to get whacked in that hotel like he thought he was going to? I'm not sure about that because I've been at the Kimberly multiple times. We used to take Georgie Neck there when he was on the lam. I don't know, because if you're going to whack somebody in a hotel room, how are you going to get the body out? I don't think we had a connection with the Kimberly where we had it locked down like that. Maybe they were just doing it as a scare tactic. I can tell you this much. The guys that were there were very capable of carrying it out, But I think he was going to actually get killed. I don't know. I say no, because there was other ways they could have lured him in to kill him. I don't think they would have brought him to a public place in the Upper East Side of Manhattan in a hotel room to whack him there. They could have called him in anywhere else, So I would go with more towards the north side. Jacob Linville. Who's he talking about is ordering the food in the cell? I didn't hear a name. Was still Gas carrying over from previous show? Yes. Yeah, Gas was on the cell phone ordering food with Billy Hongs, Peter Lugas, and the cops. Yeah,
you were talking about the lobster rolls, I think, at that time.
Yeah,
that he loved those. This is Big Q 2696. Frank loving the podcast. What separates Italians from the Bronx compared to all the boroughs? Isn't that interesting? I think he means the Bronx fashion. I think we talked a little bit about those guys up there, and they were less credible, is what we talked about in one of the stories.
No, he's saying what separates Italians from the Bronx. I don't think anything separates Italians from the Bronx. I think Italians from the Bronx are the same as Italians from anywhere. Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island. I don't
There's
know
Italians
why.
in every borough.
Yeah, I don't know why Italians from the Bronx are different.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Italians and good Italians from the Bronx. A lot of good neighborhoods up there.
Why? That's a good one. You want to handle that one?
The Truth 4267. Why is there a Chucky doll with a blinking sign about doing coke? Okay, I don't know why either. What I do know is that we have a lot of professional people that work at the studio. I guess I walked in one day and I seen this blinking sign that says, "Don't do coke, do coke, don't do coke." I mean, I don't do coke. I never did do coke. I did it once. I told you the story.
Yes. Well,
I did it once, and I stood up till 7 a.m. staring at the ceiling. I said, I'll never do it again. But I think it's just a prop. I got a Chucky doll. The doll's still behind me. I guess the Chucky doll, and now I got Ted.
Yeah.
Following me around. So we have fun with it. So
yeah, these are props, guys. We're in a studio, and there's a lot more. We just kind of played with those.
Why don't you make the Truth 4267? What do you want to see?
Yeah, you want to see some props? Tell us.
Maybe we'll change the Chucky doll out for something else. Let us know.
Chucky doll. Well, we talked about him. We got SAS 1972-W2K. Why do you think Gaspipe was such a good guy? He was a piece of garbage and did whatever was best for him and him only. That's a question.
All right, let's not get this twisted. I'm not trying to portray Gaspipe as a good guy. He was good to me. He was a good gangster in the street. You're entitled to your opinion. He was a piece of garbage, A lot of people probably said worse things about him than that. I'm not sticking up for him or anything like that. When we're talking about the mob, we're talking about the life. There was very few guys that even compared to Gaspipe when it came to that. Now, does that make him a good guy? I never said that.
Mm-hmm.
Never say he was a good guy. All I said was he was very good to me. So
that's different.
Of course, he did what was good for himself. Everybody in that life, you know, most people, they did do what was good for themselves.
You almost have to.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, what do you...
How do you say he's not?
It's a very treacherous life, and at the end of the day, you could say that about... You could pretty much say that about a lot of gangsters, that they were a piece of garbage, they just did what was good for themselves, they were no good. You could say that about a lot of guys, you know? But all I ever said was Gas was good to me. And you know something, too? How is it any different than any corporate America, any organization, legitimate?
Mm-hmm. Which you did both.
Supposed to be legitimate, right? How is that any different about a guy who, corporate America or a job or something like that, where you don't get whacked, okay? That they're doing whatever they can to survive for themselves and doing everything they can for themselves, and don't care who they mess up along the way. It's no different. The only difference is with the mob, you could get killed, okay? With legitimate side, what happens? You get fired, right? But it's no different.
And we've experienced both sides of that. You have. You've worked in the corporations, and there's no different. There's people in big corporations that will, you know, say something against you in order to get advanced or do something.
Let me tell you something. Doing business with the Toby Keith thing and the bars and everything, the way a lot of those companies, those REITs, the way they run their companies, just no different than the mob. Yeah. I would joke about it. I really joke about it. Like, the only difference is, you know, they got a pen instead of a gun, you know? But the way they did everything and how just as treacherous, you know?
It's still survival, whether it be the corporate world or the mob world, you know?
Yeah.
This is from MC Cloven. Am I reading that
McCloven,
right?
6500.
6500. Keep it coming. Any Frank Smith stories?
Yeah, I got a lot of Frank Smith stories, but we'll save that because that's a touchy subject. Because of my son, I was engaged to be married to Frank Smith's sister, who was my son's mother. Okay. So we'll have to talk about that in the future.
Okay.
Mike Sullyvahn.
Sullyvahn.
SULYVAHN 7143. Can you be more specific about how Sal Avellino didn't do his time in prison well? What happened with him exactly? Well, the reason why I say that is because everybody was always comparing Anthony Boat and Sally Avellino. Why? Because they were both captains. They were both on the administration and a panel. Okay, so always everybody compared the two. And if you looked at the both of them, the way they did their time was night and day. Okay, the way Boat did his time was like a real gangster, represented it as you should. He was a jailer. Right? Sally Avellino, you could see, he looked like a fish out of water. He looked like some white-collar guy coming from a legitimate company. All of a sudden, it just goes in and does a bid. He just didn't fit.
Why do you think that is, personality-wise?
Personality, and two, Sally Avellino really earned his money legitimately through the carting industry. Garbage companies, and he was a, legitimate businessman who happened to be a made guy in the mob, Boat was a made guy who was a street guy all his life. Two different personalities, two different. So that's why I looked at Avellino like not on the same level as Boat. But did Avellino do his time? Yeah, he did his time. The way he did his time, he didn't do his time like Boat did. That's for sure.
In what respect when you say that? Like, just handled it differently? And
Boat's a gangster.
In the game, Uno. Shout out to my Usos, killing bills like Uma. Balls travel from Pluto, big truck soprano, gabagool and